D1 has been releasing music still, but if I'm gonna be honest, man, like the it's not that the project with Murs was bad music per se, but man, I just feel like D1 on that project was like mad caricature of like Christian rapper. He just I don't know D1 Mayor, and I don't want to diss him because I may run into him. He's a great dude. He was for the longest, probably up to 2018, my favorite rapper. Like his album was still my favorite, one of my favorite albums that in the Christian space that he had released, where he had all the different skits and stuff. But man, I feel like he fell into a
Hmm.
weird, corny type of lane now, where like I don't enjoy listening to him nearly as much. He kind of got corny to me over time, which in hip hop, I just feel like that just ain't the vibe. And like that, I'm the rapper, I'm the Christian, and I'm the with the Murs, whatever. What it was like the bogus quality artwork. Like I just couldn't vibe with it. And then his album wasn't that great either. It had like some decent singles where he had that I know God got a plan for me. I like that song. But like man, some of them other songs on that project was not that good to me. Like it was just it was just like it felt like
That
it
God
just
and
felt
Girls that was in 2019.
God and Girls, yep. It just felt
Yeah,
dated. It
that
felt like
that's
it. Hmm.
well. If you listen to a lot of that stuff, I actually think th- these. Oh no, yeah, yeah, no, that wasn't a good. That wasn't. Yeah,
He had a
yeah,
few
that
songs
wasn't
on there
a
like
solid album.
God got a I know God
He
is a
had
good
hits on
song.
there.
Yeah, and then I like the song where he was like talking about like the darkness and stuff like that. That song was fire. Like that was I forgot what the song was called, but like he has some decent singles. But then when I actually went to the project itself, I'm like, oh man, the singles is all that's good.
Yeah, that album wasn't his best. It wasn't. It wasn't Slingshot David. You heard that album?
That's the album that I
It
was talking
definitely
about. That's
wasn't
what
Slingshot.
put him at the top. Like I wouldn't even this wouldn't even be a debate for me of him being in the top five if I was just going off for 2017. But yeah, he had a huge to me, I don't know what it is. It's just something like I feel like he needs to kind of adapt more. Like I don't want him to make music that's just trendy, but because I know that he talked
Yeah,
about making timeless music, and some of them mixtapes, them David, David and Goliath mixtapes and whatnot. Those joints are timeless. Like he did like this little
yes.
test where he just dropped all songs that were old that weren't out on Spotify, and he put it all on a project. And a lot of people didn't even know that those were old songs. But I'm like,
Yeah.
those are your best songs. Those are timeless, but you got to keep releasing timeless music, but you got to start to bring in some new age elements. You can't just keep rapping on the same type of sounds.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I'm
I
being
do
overly
agree.
critical, but some of the he I don't the reason and but neither of us had Lecrae, and it's not a slight to Lecrae in it, but like there is like we are hitting a new age as far as music and sounds, and Lecrae keeps up with the sound. Like he didn't release a bad like Restoration wasn't a bad album by any means. It actually had good storytelling, but it just wasn't. It didn't make me want to pull him over the top. It just felt like there was an aspect of it that just felt like maybe I've been there and done that with Lecrae, and maybe that's the case for D1 too, where it's just like, yeah, man, like I probably got the most out of you as far as like what I would enjoy.
Well, certain people have their primes, and and then a lot of people have, like, even if their album isn't the greatest, you could see that they have room to grow, and you can potentially see what they're going to evolve into. Like when No
Mm-hmm.
Big Deal came out, it was like, all right, yeah, I could tell that maybe the production isn't all the way there the way it probably could be, like as far as equipment, things of that nature. But the man is gifted, and he will blow up. And it's just
Right.
and like you have those thoughts for a lot of different artists as well. I mean, there was a guy, he actually was on, um, and I don't even know if he considers himself a Christian artist anymore, but he was on No Big Deal's lowercase tape that I'm just still banging. Let me see his name. Caleb Mitchell. Is he even a Christian artist anymore?
He's a Christian artist, but he's not in like this. He probably wouldn't be in the Christian hip hop category like that. But I don't think he is like completely like separated though. Like he still does music with Christian artist, and his music isn't like explicit.
I see. Okay, well, good stuff. But just people like him, man, just artists with super high potential levels, and
Right.
you could just see them growing. I think D1 hit not hit a wall, but it's just the way his music is and the way music has evolved over time. You
Right.
know what I mean? And
Exactly.
so I think he should go back to straight story mode, which builds his albums out. I think that's what's best for D1 because lyrically he could put some stuff together. He may not be the greatest, but he could put some stuff together. But he's
Oh
more
yeah.
of like a storytelling mode kind of guy. And that Slingshot David was just master level album making. So
Yeah.
yeah, D1 he must evolve with time. He must, and then here's another thing. I don't really see D1 featured with a lot of these younger dudes. Do
That's
you?
another thing that's hurting him is I feel like, I mean, and I understand it's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on in like Christian hip hop in the community. So like I understand not being really as connected to stuff. Like I'm sure that's plays a factor, but like yeah, man, that's the other thing is I feel like being able to collaborate with the artist now and being able to kind of really build up those kind of connections. I feel like that's lacking, and it reflects in kind of how he approaches a lot of music. I mean, like you don't gotta like. I feel like you can have a sound and evolve your sound in a way that like allows it to be relevant. But no, I wanted to ask you not to harp too much on D1, but like, what do you think about like some of my selections in my list? That was the only one I didn't like in yours. Shawan is a personal choice of yours, and I'm not gonna trip about me. I should have went at me being in it, but what do you think about mine?
You had, in no particular order, you had John Keith, you had Bizzle, you had No Big Deal, and then you put KB, which you mentioned could be your number one. KB is a solid choice. I feel like just he's super. I don't know. His rapping style is cool to me, but I could put Flame up there with KB. Really, for me personally, I could put Flame up there with
What?
him because KB just makes like straight hitters. He
They are
just,
similar though.
it's just like, yeah, they're super similar, and I would honestly probably choose Flame over KB. But even though Flame tweaked a bit with his last, like, I don't know what that was, Luther album or whatever it was called.
Ah,
Like
that's
he's
what
been on his
I
Luther.
think he changed. Yeah, he became Luke. I
I
forgot
don't.
about that.
I slowed down from listening to that man because of that. I don't know what that was.
Hilarious.
What is
Yeah,
that, Luther?
nah.
I tried to look it up. What is that?
Well, he became Lutheran. I don't know how
Yeah,
to.
but it wasn't like his whole theology. Like was just that
He was
whole
using.
album was about some weird reformed theology that
Yeah,
wasn't like hitting on nothing. Like
that's why I'm looking like
I ain't gonna talk about
Flame.
the man,
Yeah,
but
this ain't about. Yeah, this ain't about him. But it's like I can't put him in the same category as no freaking KB, man. KB is on another level now.
okay,
I don't
KB.
think. Okay, this
Because
is.
I'm sleeping on
Yeah,
his
go ahead.
KB had he's a hits man for me. Now, he had an album, His Glory Alone. I probably should listen to that because
See
I have
that
not listened to it.
that's the thing. That's the album that I mean. He was over. I would have had him close to number one without the album because those singles and his last album were crazy. That album is really good, but if you're not into like those CCM songs, like if you're not into the "My God of Angel Army" type stuff and
He
flipped into
does